Welcome back to week 2 of the Connor and Kaz show, featuring Kaz Clay, the special assistant to the head coach, and Connor Willhite of Connor Sports Talk. This is your weekly look inside the Scott County football program, and our week 2 episode features the defense for the 2026 football season. We talk with players Parker Atkins, Asher Brewer, and Jaylen Dancler, as well as defensive coordinator Coach Monty McIntyre, and as always, we talk with the head coach, Coach Jim McKee, going into his 35th season as the head coach of the Cardinals. We want to say thank you to our Connor Sports Talk sponsors, Rumkey, Waster and Cycling done right for you, Johnson Funeral Home, 125 years of timeless tradition, the Floro Group, white glove service with red carpet treatment, and the Hawkins Smith Agency, providing all of your insurance needs since 1981. I hope you enjoy week 2 of the Connor and Kaz show. This is Connor Sports Talk. Now, here's Connor Willhite and Kaz Clay.
Welcome back to the Connor and Kaz show for the second episode, and we're here for player interviews for the defense. Jaylen Dantzler.
The Jaylen Dancler, class of 27, defensive back.
So kind of talk about, you're new in the system. Talk about you've been at Louisville Central for the last 3 years. How do you feel like you're adjusting to the new system?
I feel like I'm adjusting well, learning the guys well, picking up on the defense very fast, and I think it's going to be a fun time, a great season.
How do you feel like the early tough schedule, especially getting those last 3 district games at home, will help with our fans? I know we have a pretty tough environment. So how do you feel like that district play will go at the end?
I think if we take care of business and look at every game the same, we'll win all 3 games and have home field advantage for playoffs.
So what's something that you think that coaches or maybe players or other schools will look at you and say, man, like he really grew in this one area. What's the biggest thing that you try to work on throughout the offseason to get better at?
Physicality, playing more physical.
And is there anything that you're trying to do, personally or team-wise? Like, is there anything that you want to accomplish throughout the season?
Win a state championship.
That's Jaylen Dancler.
Here with our next player interview, we got Asher Brewer here.
My name is Asher Brewer. I play safety and outside linebacker, class of 27.
Asher, what are some of the things you've done this offseason to prepare for your upcoming season?
Just working out, trying to get stronger, trying to get faster, and just trying to be the best player I can be going into the season.
You're coming into the season as the 5A interception leader, as well as the leading returning tackler for your defense. How does that motivate you coming into this season, and how does it affect how you play?
Oh, it motivates me a lot. I mean, I know what I can do. I know my ability, but this year I got to become violent, got to do the same thing. I got to do more than that. Got to play the best I can. It's my last year and last ride.
Of the top 10 leading tacklers from last season, 4 of them will not be back on this year's team. How do you think those spots have been filled, and do you think those guys are ready?
Oh, yeah, they're ready. We got some great players. Like Parker said, shoes have been filled. I mean, we got some good players, and they're going to come ready to play and play physical.
What are some of your expectations for the upcoming year?
Kroger Field. It's the main goal right there is get to Kroger Field. That's what the expectation is.
Thank you, Asher. Good luck.
I appreciate you.
We're here with our next player interview. We got Parker Atkins here.
Parker Atkins, class 27, inside linebacker, long snapper.
I know you've done a lot of preparation going into this season. Talk about some of the work you've done in the offseason to get ready for the season.
I mean, me and a couple of other guys, been putting our heads down and grinding. I mean, everybody showing up in class. It's been really helpful for us.
You went both ways last season with the offensive line and back to the defense. You made a decision this year to go all defense. What went into that decision?
I mean, me being one of the defensive captains, I got to be 100% the whole time. When I was going both ways, I was getting a little tired. I mean, I was still helping our team, but I think me and Coach McKee decided it'd be better for me to just play defense.
You've had a lot, some guys come in and out of the defense. Some people graduated and shoes have been filled. How do you think the new guys are coming along on the defense?
We got a lot of new guys who can definitely play. We got some young bucks, but I mean, shoes have been filled is what we can say.
And, always got a tough schedule here at Scott County. What are some of your expectations for this upcoming season?
I really think that we should go out and dominate every person we play. Our defense is going to be very physical, and we're all going to fly the ball every single play.
Thank you, Parker.
Sir.
We are here with the Scott County football defensive coordinator, Coach Monty McIntyre. Coach, going into another season as a defensive coordinator, you had a month or so of practice with this team. How do you think they're shaping up for the season?
We're coming along. We won't really know until we got live action, the bullets start flying. Maybe I shouldn't say bullets, but when the game action starts flying, we got to know how the kids react. We've got quite a few coming back, so it shouldn't be so much of a transition this year.
We've seen a lot, of the past few years, some guys that'll be coming back up or returning, rather. Are there any new guys or new players that have stepped up and you think could have a significant role in your defense this year?
Yes, I mean, I don't like naming names because you will leave off somebody. Our number one goal is to get our defensive line together. So we've got sophomore Jaden Stennett. We've got Luke Banner. We've got Grady McMillan. That's the key to how far we will go is how our D tackles.
I want to go position by position, and you kind of give an assessment of what you see and what you kind of think you'll see from this season. That's to go okay with you. We'll start. You just mentioned the defensive line.
We're a mix of young and old. Okay, we've got very good athletes. So pretty much all them guys have to do is just don't get blowed off the ball. If our D line comes along, we're gonna be tough to handle. We've got. You want to name some names?
If you want, you can.
Like I said, we got Grady McMillan, Jaden Stennett, Los Fugate, Eli Smith has really come along. I'm anxious to see what he's going to do this year.
What about your linebackers?
Linebackers, we got the coach, Parker Atkins. We got a transfer in from Georgia, Coach McKee's cousin. He's really good. And we'll go about 4 deep at the linebacker spot.
What about your corners and your safeties?
The corner, that's probably the strength of our team. We got about 5 corners that can function. We're returning 3 out of our 4 in the secondary, so that should be pretty good.
I was just going to say, like, how key is that, obviously, because the secondary does a lot for defenses and having that much of returning production. How is that, very key in a high level like 5A when you really don't know who's going to win year in and year out?
It's very key because there's probably nothing they haven't seen. I mean, we play top-notch competition, so they've seen it all. So they shouldn't get nervous. They shouldn't be out of place. But they're kids and they're human, so they're going to make mistakes. But I feel pretty good.
Talk to us about your coaching staff. How have you all come together?
Wow.
So far this year?
Hey man, we probably got the best coaching staff in the state. We on defense. I think we got 4 or 5 former head coaches. We got Coach Dantzler. Coach Willhite was a head coach. Coach Furnish was a head coach. I'm leaving off somebody. Coach Travis played here. I played here. And Coach Hall was a head coach. So we've got a lot of experience.
And give a message to the fans that'll watch your team. What can they expect from you, or expect to see from your defense this season?
Hey, we're gonna be physical. We're gonna fly around and play hard. We're gonna make mistakes. But we're going to go. If we make mistakes, we're going to be doing it at 100 miles per hour.
Anything else?
Yeah, just I kind of talked to Coach McKee about that, but like, how great is it? Just not only defense, but overall having this much experience. But sometimes when you have younger guys, you have coaches that have been through kind of every situation this player's been through. And like, do you feel like defenders have evolved as time went on? As you've coached, do you think players are more versatile? Do you think that they're able to grow into more positions?
It's just year by year. We haven't had this much versatility in the back since the school split. So it doesn't happen every year like at a county school, maybe like Trinity St. X or something like that. But it's very good to have, because we got safeties that can play corners. We got corners that can play safeties. It's just good to have.
Coach, thank you and good luck this season.
Thank you, sir.
We're here with the head coach, Coach McKee. Coach, we've been a week since we talked to you last. Give us an update. What's been going on in practice this past week?
Well, obviously we're getting closer to playing. And so, you're getting closer to determining who the starters are or who the top backups are, who's on the JV team. The freshman team is getting closer to playing. So it's busy. And, I think that if I could send a message to anybody that's listening, whether, it was parent or player, you can only put 11 guys out there. So if you put 12 out there, it's going to be a penalty for illegal participation. If you put 10 out there, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. But the challenge for a parent or a player, who all starts the first game is never the same 11 guys that are going to start the last game. I can think of a young man named Peyton Brown. He wore jersey number 12 for us. He was a tough football player. So his sophomore, but he wasn't very big. So you have this prototypical view of what you think somebody should be, right? Sure. Just like you don't look like a great snapper, but you are. You should be snapping. I'm going to bring it up every week. So let me know if you want to come out.
All right.
But so Peyton Brown goes to the first JV game. And all of a sudden, he's a sophomore. You know, he has a really good game, and somebody said, boy, Peyton Brown had a good game tonight. So then we play about 3 JV games, and Coach Davis said, you know, I think I'm going to try Peyton Brown covering kickoffs. So what do you think he did? He went down there and made 2 or 3 tackles in about the first 2 or 3 games he was in there. So then he got on the punt team, and then he got on the punt rush team, and then he got on, and then all of a sudden it got to be about game 8, and he was on the varsity playing. You know, Evan Oswald, Eli Smith are 2 great examples. You know, Evan Oswald got his first start last year in week 10. And that's something that I wish I could do a better job of as a coach, and I really try to self-reflect on, is keeping the guy encouraged that maybe is player 14 on the defense or the offense. So that's, as we move forward, you know, that's something you want to try to keep every possible person involved, because you're going to need them. Football takes a lot of people, and as we've said before, injuries are unfortunately just a part of our game, you know, more so than most other sports.
This episode this week is with the defense. So what, you know, comes to your mind of what you've seen, what stands out this summer from your defense?
Well, we're fast. You know, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. I think that, you know, a tough thing for any coach, whether you're offense, defense, special teams, you know, there's about, I've seen, I don't know, 6 different good kickoff returns. You know, you can run it up the sideline. You can run it up the middle. You can reverse it. You can fake. I've seen we ran a fake reverse. And, you know, the challenge is all of those work. The coaching aspect of it is which one of those fits our people the best. So I think that's probably a little bit where our defensive guys are, just, you know, what fits us the best? How many downs do we need to be in man? How many downs do we need to be in zone? What number of downs do we need to bring pressure on? You know, so I think that they're going to know a lot more this week, but I think they're getting a pretty good bead for that. I would say if anything stands out, we're fast.
Have you had any surprises this offseason?
Oh, yeah, there's always surprises. You know, like, he's not really a surprise because he had a good year last year, but, you know, like what JT Wells has done in the weight room with the extra training that he's done, I mean, he's just completely transformed his body. Eli Smith, really good player, ended up starting last year, but he's taken just a tremendous step forward. You know, Peyton Harris is the kid that wasn't with us last year that's with us now. You know, he has a really good skill set. So that might be 3 guys that have kind of surprised me a little bit. And then you go into the senior class. I'm really happy with what Skylar Way's done. I hope he doesn't watch this and hear me brag on him, and then he'll show up next week and he'll think he's arrived. You know, that's a tough thing. You know, what media guys do, like you see all these preseason polls. Of course, I'd rather be ranked 1 than 21. But, I mean, guys are already talking about, well, this team or that team, you know, are going to be the state champ. I mean, I'm not thinking about trying to be the state champ right now. I'm thinking about, how was our adjustment to the weather that we had today right? Did we still accomplish what we wanted to accomplish in today's practice because we had to come inside? You know, what do we need to have onto the practice? I always make the practice schedule the night before. No matter how long it takes, I never go home without the schedule done. I have this crazy phobia that somehow something will happen tomorrow. Like I'll get called away, or the printer won't work, or the computer will go, down, and I won't have the practice schedule. So right now, you know, our focus is just how can we have the best possible practice. And I've coached, this will be my 35th year, and, you know, only one time do we ever win every game. So 34 out of 35 years we lost a game. And with our schedule this year, you know, there's a good chance we're going to lose a game or games. But, you know, those are great opportunities to learn from. So that's why we have such a challenging schedule.
I was just going to say, like, how do you think now playing another team, obviously scrimmage isn't a full game, but, you know, in any sport, playing against your own team, knowing they know the plays, you know, how are you able to really get into more of the intense or elevated level of, all right, well, now we get to go hit somebody else. Now we get to go play somebody else. Now we get to go get more competition that's not within our own system.
Well, you know, we've had some pretty intense physical moments during camp. I mean, our guys get after each other pretty good. I think the challenge, Kaz, is more so what are the players' comfort level when all of a sudden they line up and they're officials and they're fans and there's somebody else. You know, you guys have been involved in sports all your life, and you ever get that real nervous, anxious, uncertain feeling? That's no good. You know, can you be a little anxious or a little nervous or a little, hey, I want to get that first hit in? Sure. But you better have been trained to the level of the game is what's supposed to be fun. You know, people love recruiting. Y'all ever notice that? You can send something out about Connor. Connor got a 4.0 and he got this ACT score, and he did like Brody Boland was the valedictorian last year. Isn't that unbelievable, Kaz? All right. I mean, we put that out and it got like 8 likes. You could put out that Kaz got offered by Oklahoma today, and it get out 600 likes. And so, is recruiting a part of it? Sure. You know, and I played college football, and I hope that we'll do everything we can for as many of these guys to play college football as possible. But don't forget about the main thing is to have fun. The main thing is to go out on Friday night and create an experience for yourself that's fun.
Coach Monty talked about, you know, how the staff here is the best in Kentucky. What can you tell us about Coach Monty specifically and how he runs his defense?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is he absolutely gives his best effort. And, you know, when you call offensive plays, you all ever sit at home and you all are going to do it. Now, Kaz, I'm going to listen to a couple of these broadcasts, and if you're criticizing all my play call on these broadcasts, I'm going to have to talk to you. But I do it. You know, so you'll sit at home and you will watch the college game on Saturday, and you'll be like, oh, man, should have run a screen, should have run a draw, should have blitzed. Here's how it works on defense. If you're in man coverage and they complete a pass and the guy that's got him man slips and falls and he takes it 70, 8 out of 10 people are going to say what? Should have been in zone. Okay, if you're in zone and they complete a pass in front of the defensive back and he catches it and turns and takes it 70, we got to get man and heat him up. So I think that the scheme thing is not really where I would have say, Coach, I mean, it's a strength of all our coaches. I mean, our schemes are sound. I just think his greatest strength is his will to win, and the amount that he cares about the program, and he's going to do everything in his power to put the kids in the best position to be successful.
And I know I kind of speak on this in our first interview we did with Twist the Whistle, but like I think it's really important not only as defensive coordinator, not only as offensive coordinator, the bigger positions, like how many specific position coaches we have is so impactful for how many kids we have. You know, playing at 5A level, and Clayton talked about this with his interview. Like you never know who's going to really win 5A. You know, obviously there's favorites and rankings do their thing, but you never really know until you get out there and play. So how can you get every kid's reps? How Evan Oswald's a great example. He played till week 10, played a lot of JV. You know how their coaches able to elevate them to the next level.
Well, we have good position coaches, and you've already touched on that. You know, Coach Willard coaches the inside linebackers, Coach Hall coaches the outside linebackers, Coach Travis coaches the D line, Coach Furnish coaches the secondary, Coach McIntyre coaches the entire defense, and then the addition of Coach Dantzler this year, and you know he's kind of like just a analyst, evaluator, you know, for everybody. But I mean, I think that's a key, Kaz, in just that's part of our responsibility is to develop every young man. You know, I hope that I think we got 107 players right now. You know, we got to develop the second team freshman guard. You know, baseball, you guys, you know, you all follow baseball, basketball. You know, you think in baseball, I had three children. Well, in coach pitch, Cade and Colby just naturally held the bat right, and they could just naturally stroke the ball. All right, Clay wasn't as good. Now, he worked really hard at it and became a decent hitter through Little League, but then he quit playing baseball. You know, basketball. Think about, you guys are big basketball fans. You know somebody right now that's in 6th or 7th grade that They just shoot the ball right. It comes off right. It spins right, and they can stroke it. Okay. Then you think of some other guy, and he shoots it from here. And football's a little different in that the development. Can you make a good hitter? I mean, somebody will probably say, "Oh, McKee, don't know." It's tough. You got to have natural ability to hit a baseball. You got to have natural ability to shoot a basketball. Can a football player make himself good? Yes.
I want to talk about when this episode comes out. It'll be tomorrow. Your scrimmage versus Campbell County. What do you expect to see from your team? It's still early in your season, but what do you expect from a scrimmage like that?
Well, hopefully a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of great effort, because we'll of course film it, and then we'll just immediately that night jump in that film and start ripping it apart to try to find every single thing that we can improve on. I mean, we have an extremely challenging opening game. Franklin County was 14-1 last year. They returned their quarterback. He's a really good football player. They've got other really good football players. They've got a good staff. So I just think more than anything, I hope the guys go out and play hard and fast and physical.
I was just going to touch on, you talk about how media has adapted people throughout, like, not just the rankings, but how do you think, like, over time, how has maybe not attitudes, but how has mindsets changed out throughout your coaching? Just because there's so many different things now than there was back then. I think that's something that's really important. How do you see kids maybe attack the work ethic? What maybe is more effective? Because, like, some kids now, you're seeing more like, oh, well, this kid's doing this, maybe I need to try this. Or like I saw another guy the other day, like, man, it's kind of weird. Like, basketball now is, the trainer's the most important guy in the room. So how do you see?
Well, the most important guy in the room, Kaz, always is you. And that doesn't mean you or you. It's ultimately, it's the guy that can have the most control over what he does is himself. And, whether it's, I guess, Kaz, here's how it's changed. Like, you think about this podcast and you just think about how social media has impacted young people. And it impacts me. I mean, I have a phone just like you guys do. And, I look at my phone. It'll take me 2 hours to do the practice schedule night instead of an hour and a half, because for like 2 different times for 15 minutes, I'll probably look at something on my phone. But I think that what I don't try never to do and don't like when people do is say, well, kids are different. Well, kids are always, the world's always going to evolve. You have to evolve with the kid. Parents aren't any different. My mom probably got mad at the football or basketball coach when I didn't get to play in 1980, whatever. I mean, that's just part of it. So you've got where we're trying to adapt, and I try to, in a professional manner, be open and honest with kids about here's where you stand, here's what you need to improve on, here's where we see you, versus, what you're talking about 20 or 30 years ago. It was just kind of like, well, nobody's going to quit. You can't quit. You started, you got to finish, right? And so that probably has changed a little bit. So you got to adapt as coaches. And I think the biggest thing that we're probably the most proud of is, we haven't had a losing season since 2000. And that means, now that doesn't mean every year we've been 12-2, but we have been a consistent, competitive. I think 2 years ago, like Andrew Hickey was our quarterback. He was a senior. He's at Hanover's fall camp right now. But that group, Buddy got hurt. We lost a Great Crossing. They came over here and beat us. We lost to Boyle. We were 0-3, and we ended up winning 5 games in a row, and Woodford kicked a field goal with like 3 seconds left or something to win the district, or we're potentially going to win the district. So that's probably what I'm the most proud of, is just the consistency. I don't know how good we're going to be or not be, but I would tend to think that we're going to be competitive.
Coach, I want to say thank you again for joining us this week.
Well, no problem. I want to know what I have to, You can't wear basketball shirts, although I loved Coach Hicks. You know what, I learned so much from Coach Hicks. When I first came here, I was almost sort of, well, I wasn't sort of, but like I didn't understand it, but at the time I was just jealous of Coach Hicks and jealous of basketball because it got so much attention. And I'm like, well, I want football to get that attention. Well, when I quit worrying about what the basketball team was doing and I started worrying about making our program, that's what I learned from Coach Hicks. He was a tireless worker. I've never seen a guy who worked as hard as he did. So only because it's Coach Hicks, I'm giving you a pass. I didn't see that. I just saw the hoop at first. Only because it's Coach Hicks, you're okay. All right. And I need to know what needs to happen for me to get a Connor podcast shirt.
I'll get you one.
I'm wearing it next week if you get it for me.
All right, I'll get it for you. Some things coming up. We've got the offense on the show next week. We'll talk to 3 more players. You got the scrimmage versus Campbell County on Friday, August 14th here at Cardinal Stadium. And then Saturday, August the 15th, we've got the press conference for Week 1, Battle of the Elkhorn Creek, presented by Bluegrass Orthopedics. You can watch that live on Connor Sports Talk. We'll have 4 teams from right here around Scott County on there. So, Coach, again, Kaz, thank you, and we'll see you next week.